today's Tales from the Mountain story, I'm going to tell you about the New Year's Day riot of 1986, right here at the West Virginia State Penitentiary in Moundsville, West Virginia. The prisoners said the living conditions in the West Virginia State Penitentiary were so bad that when they tried to eat their lunch, rats would literally run out and try to take it from them. Maggots would fall from the ceiling in their food, and they said it was just filth everywhere, leading them on New Year's Day of 1986 to have a riot that lasted 52 hours. These prisoners took 16 hostages, and it's said that 3 of the biggest snitches in the prison, well, they were unalived, various forms. Over 200 inmates took over this penitentiary, and as a result of this riot, they got them a brand new cafeteria and better living conditions. This penitentiary was in operation for 129 years, from 1866 to 1995. It said there was 998 documented deaths in this penitentiary, and only 94 of them was planned by the state. 85 of them the state did with a rope around the old neck, if you know what I mean. And 9 of them was from that chair you sit in, it makes you smoke. You see, they had this, what they call death house out in the yard, and that's where all this stuff took place at. And for what I've been told, for $2, you could take your family and go watch it happen. That is until the 1930s, when they botched one of the ropes around the necks. It was just a little too long, they said. It caused a grisly scene that kind of scarred people, I guess you'd say. So they stopped doing it publicly. Let me go back to those poor living conditions for a moment. They said there was 2,700 inmates at one time in there, where there should have only been about 600 to 800. And that's what made for really bad living conditions and the spread of a lot of diseases. Tuberculosis, smallpox, and influenza run wild in there. It's said over the years that 500 inmates escaped from that place, and 498 of them were picked up and caught. Yeah, that means 2 of them are still out there somewhere. Now, this place is a hot spot for paranormal activity and ghosts and shadow people, disembodied voices. It's got it all. I'll tell you a couple stories from it here in just a second. One of the reasons that I think, other than the obvious of why it's haunted, is the fact that rumor is it was built on old Indian burial grounds. The north hallway is haunted by a spirit named Red. And here's some irony in this one. Red was unalived by his best friend, whose name they said was Blue. I saw that story in 2 or 3 different places. They said another inmate ordered to hit, told Blue, you're going to have to take care of your best friend Red there. And if you don't, it's going to be your life. So he did what he had to do to stay alive. Now, Red got his nickname because he liked to chew red men chewing tobacco. And it's said that the paranormal investigators that go into that hall or into where his cell was, if they got some of that chewing tobacco in a ghost box, they can about have a conversation. Another haunting story I'll tell you about here is, remember the death house I was telling you about, where you could pay a little money and watch it happen? It got tore down. They put a fence up around through there where it was at. And it said that those guards, in the later years when they'd be there walking the yard, that fence would just start rattling real hard for no reason. And they'd see shadow people walking around there at night, and they'd hear disembodied voices. And it'd scare them so bad some of them would go home. If you'd like to hear more stories about the West Virginia State Penitentiary in Moundsville, leave me a message. I got a few more I can tell. And don't forget to follow me for more Tales from the Mountains.